now.
Yes.
But what we've also been seeing is a rise in gubernatorial leadership,
Gubernatorial leadership from the
uh,
gubernators.
both from Republicans and Democrats, and it's been very much not a single party response. So the Democrats have not all responded one way, and the Republicans have not all responded the same way.
Right.
Both governors and other just major political figures in the ring.
I will say though, it definitely stinks of ideological splits though. You have the governors who are more ideologically sort of aligned with their state in a certain way. Governors who are probably representative of their populations regardless of their party identification. And then you have some governors, and this is oftentimes because of the political leanings of their population, but also because of their affiliation to the president, that are not handling the situation with as much grace as one would have hoped.
Mm-hmm. So one big state, obviously, that has been pretty heavily affected by this and is now under the microscope because of that is New York.
Yeah, you have to start with New York because honestly, Governor Cuomo has kind of taken over the country for this.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot from Cuomo. We ourselves have been talking a lot about Cuomo, and that's because he has been everywhere. He's been giving daily press briefings and, kind of been one of the more trusted figures in the nation during this whole
we
crisis.
Keep bringing that up. He's brought his daughter on camera. He's there. I mean, the one thing it's really tough for me to criticize Cuomo about anything. He's not wearing a mask. I mean, yeah, he's social distancing with his advisors, but the optics of that are like head scratching, but like nobody really talks about it because I guess it doesn't matter.
He also is up in Albany, so he's not necessarily in the New York City hotspot, but yeah, it would be a nice message to be sending that even he is doing that. But he's been a pretty consistent message throughout, and he's been a lot more of a leader than many of our other leaders, regardless of their party.
Yeah, it's a combination of like the wonderful thing about the briefings is that every day, and I mean he's only responsible for giving New York briefings, so you're only getting the New York stats. But every day, the first 2 minutes of every briefing, and I know because my dad watches it without fail every day, is the stats. Like, here's the rate, here's the chart with yesterday's stats, the chart of like infections, the chart of deaths, the chart of like, okay, how are our hospitals doing? That's the first 2 minutes every day. So you have like this consistency and this routine that you can get into, and that is really good. And then the next like 15 to 20 minutes are usually him like, I don't want to say rambling, but it's talking about like, we're going to do this, we're doing this. And then usually like a Monday motivation that you would see on like somebody's Instagram story, and then they like wrap it up after about an hour.
That is in harsh contrast to Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Yeah, let's talk de Blasio. Here's an instance, okay, of Democrats among Democrats.
Yes.
Right? You'd think it's like, okay, you've got Cuomo up in his, wooden palace, if you want to call it that, up in Albany. And so it's like, all right, why is Cuomo taking care of New York City? Because, you've got America's mayor, right? That should be the mayor of New York City. Seems like a pretty like high profile position, right? And it's like, oh, you got de Blasio, he ran for president. People know who he is. He should be taking care of this, right? No, he's
not at all.
He's not. He's getting into fights with Cuomo. And of course it's different. Nobody knows what's going on. It's so behind the scenes. You have no idea who's right and who's wrong. The big spat came when de Blasio said that they're going to be closing schools until June. And apparently Cuomo was like blindsided by that. He was like, regardless of whether or not this was a good idea, you have to tell me these things. De Blasio got all in a fuss about it. It's been kind of a hilarious saga.
He's also not had the best tweets, including
there's
people
that.
To quote, "Since I'm encouraging New Yorkers to go on with your lives and get out of the town despite the coronavirus, I thought I would offer some film suggestions." Just tweets like that really, really did not age well at all. It's not a good look for Mayor de Blasio, and it really just like reinforces Cuomo's kind of not very.
Oh wait, then there's also the anti-Semitism stuff.
Yes, Yeah, there is.
tweeting out basically because New York's Hasidic Jews. That's
Yeah.
yeah. The Hasidic Jewish community in New York City has come under fire with it, and I mean, kind of fairly because they've been having large gatherings in spite of city ordinances saying maybe don't have 300 people get together in close quarters contact, and that community has also experienced a lot of the they've also been hit by the coronavirus disproportionately hard because of the fact that they have been disobeying stay-at-home orders and things like that.
Yeah.
And people are right to call them out, not for getting together in that way. That said, that community has also been starting to turn the corner, and a lot of those people who were infected by coronavirus and survived it have been donating blood in like very large quantities. So the community has been contributing as well. But at the same time, you can definitely criticize them for the fact that they insisted on having these gatherings regardless of the stay-at-home orders. But de Blasio had this really terrible tweet where he basically I should pull up the tweet now. Because basically the funny thing about this gathering is that it was a funeral, and it had actually been pre-approved by the New York police beforehand. Let me see if I can pull this up.
He said,
my message to the Jewish community and all communities is this simple. The time for warnings has passed. I have instructed the NYPD to proceed immediately to summons or even arrest those who gather in large groups. This is about stopping this disease and saving lives, period.
Keep in mind, this was a funeral of a notable New York City rabbi that many people were at. Everyone was wearing face masks. Obviously, they were not social distancing, but it was a pre-approved event.
That's the thing. He's like,
yeah.
I'm going to be calling in the NYPD. The NYPD had previously approved it. And the fact that de Blasio didn't know that before he just threw out the tweet is very like, sure, it was probably an honest mistake, but it is very indicative of the leadership mindset that he is approaching this whole crisis with.
Yeah. This is probably one of his biggest embarrassments since having to drop out after the second debate.
I don't know if that was,
he was very much not successful in that.
He was just tall
campaign.
and shrill.
But that's what we've seen